Okay, welcome back, guys, to part 3 of our model creation series for Vrchat. So, today's episode, I am going to be teaching you guys the basics of Blender, such things as the controls, what you're actually doing here, and what the possibilities of things that you can do. I'll give you a brief breakdown. At the moment, with this series, I'm going to keep it very basic. I will do a second season or a second series where I'll go into a lot more depth on things that you can do within programs like Blender and Unity. At the moment, we're just looking at creating a model or sourcing a model and importing it from Blender to Unity and then into VRChat itself. Okay, so we've got our Miku Arc Order model that we downloaded last episode. If you remember, it was the one that we got from DeviantArt. It's probably the most basic or further back version that we can start with, as opposed to the other method where we went through VRC mods. So, very first thing, the controls for Blender. Okay, so middle mouse wheel will actually rotate you around. Scrolly wheel obviously zooms you in. If you need to move yourself, like your positioning from left to right, if you hold shift on your keyboard and middle mouse, that'll give you the axis, or axis, I should say. At the moment, we're in what we call a 3D view. If you want a more flat view on your model, you press number 5 on your numpad. All these bindings can be changed in your settings, by the way. 5 gives you a 2D perspective of whatever you're looking at, so as opposed to a three-dimensional view. So you can once again rotate using the same methods, which is middle mouse wheel, or you can hold shift to go left or right. However, if you use your numbers, like you say number 1, number 2, 3, you can change all those sort of good things around like that. So it uses a more pinpoint degree axis of checking on things sort of thing. But yeah, and then you just press 5 on your numpad again to come out of that view. So that's probably basic. So now to select things, I should say also, it is right mouse click. It is only a click. You don't have to hold for a lot of things. That's pretty much all we need to sort of cover, I think, at the moment for movement and stuff. For controls. What we need to do with our model that we've just brought into our project, once again, if you're unsure on how to do that, if you click import up the top, you navigate to your folder that you've created for your model, and you want to import the PMX if it's come from DeviantArt. PMX or PMDs, I think the two different types of files that we use. I digress. Once you've got it inside your project and you're seeing like this, very first thing we always do is click Fix Model. Alright, so now that we've clicked Fix Model, we have color to our model and everything's all there. If for some reason your model's gone pink and stuff like that, I will show you with our Unity one how to fix that later in the video. At the moment, I'll just show you with this one what we're doing here. So, what I normally do from here from a start point as a creator, which actually we'll cover a little bit more in the more advanced series at the moment, because once again, we're just importing into here, getting it ready for Unity to then put into VRChat. So we've got a model here. Everything looks okay. I don't see anything that is broken per se. So that what you can do just to check that your model moves correctly is you can do what they call start pose mode here. Make sure that whenever you move anything or any bones or anything that you do it in pose mode so that it doesn't indefinitely change the model. So say for example I wanted to change the arms or move the arms and see how they look. You just right click on the bone. Okay, you get this little ball here. I'm going to grab the green line with a left click and I can see how it looks when I bend the arms up and down. Alright, So don't stress that she looks a bit stiff at the moment. This is all stuff that you can fix up in Unity itself. Just quickly have a look at the neck. So there's no point in porting the model further on if things don't actually move or look correctly. Alright. The only other thing that I like to check, and this is going to be a little bit hard to click, is the leg. So to know exactly what bone that you're clicking, I obviously know from a bit of experience what I'm looking for. When you click on a bone, it'll actually tell you the name down here, so left leg. If for some reason it doesn't, or it's in Japanese or Chinese, what you need to do is you need to translate it. So to translate it, all you do is go to model options here. If I actually make this a little bit bigger, you can see there's a translate all button, and that translates to bones and materials and all that sort of stuff. I typically try and do that at the start anyway before we actually work on any models. It just makes it a bit easier. But so, yep, legs look fine, it bends up all right. And that, so we're just checking to make sure that things actually move correctly. Like, okay, that's a little bit interesting how that foot moves, but that's fine, that's passable. You won't really notice it too much. Okay, once you're happy or you've tested enough, just go stop pose mode. She'll return to a normal position. It's what they call I think it's an A pose, not a T pose, because the arms form a structure. Now that we're done with that, this model itself is actually too big for Vrchat. So there's a couple of different ways that we can fix this, right? So you tend to find if an avatar's got accessories on it, so maybe something like this ribbon, typically it's like bracelets, jewelry, things like that, they can be too high a count on the polys. So what we're going to do in this particular case is I want to reduce that faces marker down below 70,000 for Vrchat, because once again 70,000 is our limit. There's a couple of different ways you can do it. So probably the most easiest is if we come here to decimation, and you can actually decimate it here. So if we go safe, decent results, no shape key loss, that's fine. I'm going to bring it down to 65,000 because I want a little bit of playroom for in Unity itself. And then you can just go quick decimation. So this is the very, I must stress, there's a lot of people that's probably yelling right now, don't do it this way because this is it's not a risky way, but it's just not how a lot of people would go about trying to reduce that count down. But I'm teaching you the very basics to go from Blender to Unity. I'm teaching you about what these things do within Blender, and the easiest, simplest way at the moment to get your model from website to Blender to Unity to Vrchat. So it's right for you. All right. So all we need to do is click quick decimate. Okay. Hopefully, if it's all good and all fine, doesn't throw us up any errors. This number up here has dropped down to 65,000. Now, the reason why you wouldn't go low, or too low, I should say, is because the faces and all the tries and all that sort of stuff, that refers to the amount of detail that's involved with the model. If you go to too low of a number, I'll show you guys just for interest's sake. Let's bring this down to 1,000. Alright, I'm going to change it to full. Have a look what happens to the model once I bring it down to 1,000. Yeah. So it tries to join as many of the triangles together. I'll show you what I mean by triangles and stuff together, like the vertices together. And while, yeah, it's a very, very optimized model, it doesn't really look like what we need it to look like. So remember, if you ever make a mistake on anything, Control plus Z undoes it for you. When I say all the triangles and stuff, if I just right click on the mesh like that, so I'm just pulling the body around, hit tab, this is what I mean by all the things. So basically, to make up the materials on the model, they're what they call vertices, and they're a bunch of like little triangles, shapes, squares, all that sort of stuff that actually form the clothing, skin, eyes, all that sort of stuff, hair, and all that. Um, the number that was up the top refers to basically how many of those are involved in it. So once again, there's a couple of different ways that we can bring that number down, but at the moment I'm teaching just the basics and understanding what you're looking at. All right, so we've done that now. So we've brought our model in, we've clicked Fix Model, we've tested the movement on it, we've translated everything across to English so we can read it, and we've decimated it in a safe mode down to 65,000 because remember, Vrchat only like 70,000. What do we need to do now? We need to make sure that the model has eye movement, and we need to make sure that the model can actually talk in Vrchat. So to do those two things, we go to eye tracking. If for some reason this part here doesn't show up correctly like this, like it doesn't have a head, left eye, right eye, wink, wink right, or wink to, whichever, it could mean that this hasn't translated. To populate that, 99% of them nowadays will come up correct in here. If not, you may have to actually navigate through to whatever you want. So, say for example, if I wanted, no, we'll leave it basic. We'll leave it basic for now. I keep trying to make it complicated. All you need to do is click Create Eye Tracking. Okay, and then we're just going to test the eye tracking. So start eye tracking test. We can move the slider here, so down, you can see the eyes are moving there, and left and right. Blink, and then open the eyes again. Cool. That's all we need to do. Stop eye testing. Make sure you click stop. It can crash your project if you go and do other stuff while that's in tracking, but that's fine. So that was eye tracking. So now our model will look around in Vrchat for us. So now we need to make it so our model's mouth will actually move, and we can do facial gestures and stuff like that. So we click on this Visemes or Visemes here. We need to make sure that these once again say R, like is in closest thing we can get, O and Ch. If these are incorrect, make sure once again that it's been translated by clicking this big button up here. If it's not, you'll have to select through the list that they've got created for the closest thing. So all we need to do is go create Visemes. Now we want to make sure that that was actually done correctly. So to make sure or to test it here in Blender, save as doing everything in Unity and it didn't work, is we just click on the model's mesh like that so that the yellow ring's actually around the model itself, not the bones. You come across to this little symbol over here on the right, it's the Viseme symbol. And down here where it says shape keys, you have all your different actions. So like say for example, if we wanted the O mouth movement, we would click on O and we slide the little slider up here and we can see her mouth movements for when she goes O. You can scroll through, say if you wanted to see her when she blinks happy, you can click on blink happy, increase that across to the right and you can see the movement. So make sure you always bring it back to the 0 point, which is the starting point, or the default. You can go through here and you can actually see what facial emotions that your character actually has the possibility to create through here. Later episodes I'll show you how to create those. There's a few different ways on how to do that, but for the moment this is just what's come with the model standard. So you can see there's like tears and stuff like that. Easy. And with this, we're done. This is pretty much all we need to do with this. So from here, what we do is I'm actually going to go into my Unity project to start with. Okay, I'm going to go to my avatar folder. I'm going to create a new one. Okay, and we're going to call it, what was it? Mika Arc Order. So Mika Arc Order. that just so I've got everything once again organized. We're going to go show in Explorer, Mika Arc Order. I want to copy the address. I want to go back to Blender, go export model, continue to export. So it's saying at the moment that the model's warning, it's not highly optimized. It's got 14 materials. Materials refers to there's like 14 individual little orbs that are across the body for all the clothing and stuff. We're going to continue to export. We're going to Control V and paste that address in up the top. We're going to give her a name. So we'll call it Mika. And export FBX. Alright, that's now in Unity. So if I go into Unity, it's just going to be updating its system. So it's just letting you know, yep, hold on, I'm updating for that model that you've just brought in. Okay, and here's our little model down here. So you'll notice she doesn't quite look like what she did in Blender. That's because we haven't brought any of the textures into our project as well. So what I like to do here is we'll create a separate folder. We'll call it textures, like so. We'll open it up, go show in Explorer. Okay, there it is there, textures. Now, if we go back to our Miku Arc folder, like this. Okay, this is the one when we've downloaded our model from DeviantArt. This is where PMX was that we imported. I'm going to change it just so I can see the large icons. We have everything in here. So let's just open up the folders. So we've got things like the hair, the skin, all these extra bits. So we want all of these in our project. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to highlight all those, go copy, and I'm going to paste them in this folder here. Now there's might be others, so we're going to go back and have a look. So we don't need these spheres. They're just for if you're doing shiny stuff and things like that in with your shader. We're going to go into this one. There's another. These are what your face textures look like, so we want that one as well. I don't think that's already in there. Nope, it's not. So I just moved that instead of copying. So the reason why I copy instead of moving is in case I need the original texture. So yeah, it's doubling up on files and stuff like that, but it's easy to have a go back to, or sometimes in the future you might be missing something. So looks like there's some more stuff here. There's like swimsuit colors and all these other different things like that. We want these as well. Paste. And what else have we got? There's another body there, and there's some more face stuff there. So there's actually quite a bit of textures with this one. You won't use 3/4 of these. Yeah, let's replace. That's fine. However, they give them to you anyway in case you wish to do stuff with them. So, and then we've got these two here. So I just want that one and that one. Copy and paste. All right. So that we've now got all our textures. So this is pretty much all the pre-prep that you'll need to do with this. I can already see there's some textures here that we won't actually need, like we don't need these ones here. I'm actually just going to get rid of them now. Awesome, so that's everything that we need for that model. It's right to go now. So it'll still look like jank over here on the side, but I will show you in the next episode, once we're working in Unity, what we need to do with that to get that looking nice. Alright guys, so once again, 20-minute video nearly. This was the Blender to Unity part of our model. I hope to see you guys on the next one, and once again, make sure to leave me a like, follow, comments, all that beautiful stuff. It lets me know that you guys are actually watching all this, and I will continue the series and see you guys on the next one. All right, guys. Bye.